That's the honky-tonk sound of George Ducas and Hello Fool, the lead single from his new album, Long Way From Home. We found George in Nashville, of course, where he was waiting for the new album to drop. The album's out now, so here he is talking about making Long Way Home and working with acclaimed producer Pete Anderson.
I'm excited about the record coming out. I really am. It's going to be. I'm really proud of the collaboration with Pete Anderson, whose records I heard when I was a teenager and loved his music on the radio back in the day, and just his guitar playing, his vision, his composition, and his just the way he really plants the flag for honky tonk music, and it's something it's a subgenre of the genre of country music that I feel like it's sorely underrepresented these days. Yep. And I just really was glad to kind of bring that back into the hopefully this album will bring it back into the forefront a little bit.
Gotcha. Yep. So what's it like for you to work with a guy like Pete, who I read somewhere you kind of considered him a father figure? So it's got to be. Is it intimidating? Is it how did you come together and work together?
I anticipated being intimidated. Right. To be honest, Marty, I really did, and it wasn't at all that way. Like our first talk, I got introduced to him at the suggestion of my then road guitar player, who he and his wife knew Pete from a rock band that my guitar player was in previously, and they went out to LA to record with Pete. The record never got done, but he and his wife became really good friends with Pete, and he was like, "Man, we finished the show," and this was like back the end of 2019. We were playing a casino in Oklahoma, and he was like, we were just walking around the casino floor. My bass player was losing all his money, and my guitar player said, "Have you ever recorded, or have you ever met or worked with Pete Anderson?" I was like, "No, but I love that guy's guitar playing and just the way he puts records together." And I was like, when I heard his music when I was a teenager, I was like, I was thinking, this is the teenage me was thinking, if I ever get to go make a country record, I'd want it to sound just like that,
right?
And I told my friend Mark that, and he was like, "Well, I could hook you up with Pete's assistant." So I wound up emailing Pete's assistant like 4 or 5 months later. Finally got up the nerve, and his assistant Kevin emailed me back, and it's like, "Yeah, Pete's going to call you Friday at 5. He checked out your stuff. He liked it, or whatever." I was like, "Sure, Pete Anderson's going to call me Friday at 5." Anyway, sure enough, Friday at 5, bring, and George, Pete Anderson. I'm like, God, I couldn't believe it. That's and cool. I was like, something. And by then we were in this was like mid 2020,
right?
So the dark days of the pandemic.
Yep.
And I was just like, wow, something went right in the world. It was really a light. It was a highlight of the year, and we hit it off. It wasn't intimidating at all, to answer your question. We hit it off immediately. We talked about everything from music to how do you want to make your record, to tacos, to sports, basketball, football, all the above. California,
right?
Texas, everything. It was just we told road stories that had my sides like literally hurting. I was laughing so hard, and it was just a really cool experience, and it's only gotten better from there.
Nice.
It's been wonderful. Yeah.
So what does he bring to the table when you're actually in the studio? What is it different about him than other people you've worked with?
Oh man, everything. I mean, everything. He's like, he's just super loose, super cool. He does not subscribe to the Nashville method of recording, which is, hey, let's see how many songs we can cram into a 3-hour session. He's about burning the midnight oil, like old school, and like he's gonna play it over and over till he gets it right, and then he'll be like, "What do you think of this version?" He'll play a little bit of his guitar bit, and well, we could do it like that, or we could do it like this, and he'll play me something else, and we'll shoot the shit about it for I don't know if I can say that word on this.
You just did. It's fine. So, say whatever you want.
But like I mean, it's just like you play it until the song's right.
Yeah.
We'll replace the drums and start over or whatever, like whatever it takes. We'll re-record the bass. We'll like certainly re-sing. I mean, whatever. It's literally until it's right, and that's what I love about him. His pursuit of not perfection, but pursuit of passion.
Yep.
Pursuit of getting it right. Pursuit of magic.
Right.
And to hear him talk about this record, I mean, I love the record and I'm super proud of it. And I'm not a hypester like the way some perhaps TikTok artists can be, where they spend more time honing their social media than they do their craft. But like I'm really proud of the record. But to hear him talk about it makes even me want to like run through a wall. Like
right.
He's like, this record's monumental. This is planting a flag for Americana and country, honky tonk, Bakersfield, Texas, dance halls, like everything. And it's just like, I'm proud of it. I'm proud that he's proud.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah. Now it opens with a song called "Mr. Guitar Man," which I think is kind of almost about Pete Anderson. So maybe you can.
Yeah, it really is.
Mr. Guitar Man, I'm counting on you. Turn it up, play it loud, get the pretty gals out, dancing with this lonely fool. Mr. Guitar Man, don't let me down. You're the only friend I got left in this town.
He is the guitar man, and I just love that about him. I kind of wrote the song, sort of fashioned with Pete as it's not a biography, but it's
right.
like it's just he was the inspiration.
Yep. Now you do a lot of everything is co-writes, especially in country music. It's a thing that songwriters do, and you certainly have got your share of that on this album. So what is it about co-writing that is different than your average folky singer-songwriter who sits by himself and pours his little heart out on the page?
Yeah, I mean, I do that too, and both methods serve a purpose, really, Marty. I don't know if you write songs or if you just talk.
I just listen.
Prefer to talk about music, which both serve a purpose. It all serves a purpose, right?
Right. I hope.
I'm sure you probably play guitar or play an instrument, and it's like when you're playing with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
like you borrow, you get inspiration from others. So the same's true with writing. You get inspiration from your co-writers if they're ones that you trust, ones you have a history with, and then there's also the solitude of songwriting that really allows you to kind of get in touch with yourself. It's like staring back in a mirror, and it's can be kind of eye-opening, but also I kind of am my own personal nature to the way I write songs is I'm very much an editor, so.
Uh-huh.
When it's just me sitting with me in a room, I can freeze myself out. Like I'll just over edit.
Right. So there's nothing like that.
It's the old saying, like write drunk, edit sober.
Okay.
And so I just think I probably just need to drink more.
Right. There you go.
So that I don't over edit.
What could go wrong?
And but so for me, I mean, I'm a good sounding board, and I also. Writing with trusted co-writers allows me to voice something that I maybe don't think is that great, as opposed to just keeping it to myself and not saying my idea or singing my melody or whatever it is. If I bounce it off a co-writer, they'll be like, "Oh man, that was cool. That piece of what you just did, that little piece was cool. We could do something with that." So it's about they edit me and I edit them, and that's a really positive. Interplay.
Gotcha. Now, with all the talk of your songwriting, there's one track on the album that you didn't write, which is called "Tears Falling Down."
In a house filled with memories, it's hard to look around, staring at old photographs that speak without a sound. My heart remembers laughter as these tears come falling down.
Yeah, Lightning Willie. and yeah, he's more of a kind of a blues guy that is a friend of Pete's, and Pete's known of that song of Willie's for quite some time, and he suggested it, and Pete suggested that we try to do a rendition of it that kind of leaned into. It leans into a little bit of a Tex-Mex kind of.
I kind of
vibe.
felt a kind of Marty Robbins vibe in there somewhere.
Very much so, and I love that about it. It really represented a new space, and it had its own place on this record. There was nothing else like it, so I love that Pete suggested it, and it's fun to cut one or two, from other outside sources. That's just it's cool to kind of give the album sort of a different texture, just in a little place that hasn't been cut. Mine's new territory.
Right.
I love that about it.
And I think you with These Empty Arms, you kind of mentioned that it was inspired by the Everly Brothers, which is always nice to hear about them.
These empty arms that held you tight, but still holding on, still open wide. Every time you leave, it only makes me cry. These empty arms lead you tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I really loved them back, when I was a student and going to school. One of my best friends in school was a big Everly's fan. He grew up in Owensboro, Kentucky. His name was Jack. Just saw him a couple weeks ago, and he was a big Everly Brothers fan, or his dad was, and that's how I got exposed to the Everly Brothers, because obviously their music was out kind of well before I was around, or certainly not into. Maybe they were around. I don't know, but I wasn't really listening to music when the Everly Brothers were, at their pinnacle. So I discovered them through my buddy's father in Kentucky, and just the acoustic nature of it, the harmonies of it, and kind of a little bit of that rockabilly thing. And These Empty Arms was definitely an inspiration. It definitely lives from an Everly's inspiration.
So what's the plan? What are you going to do on the day? What are you going to do to?
I'm really looking forward to Friday. The record comes out Friday, and we're gonna have a big album release concert in Nashville, downtown. It's actually going to be at a place called Chiefs, which is Eric Church's new venue.
Oh, cool.
And then the next day we produced vinyl.
Nice.
Actual records for this album. Name of the album is called Long Way From Home. I don't know if we've said that yet, but I produced vinyl on this record, and I'm really excited about it. The artwork looks amazing, and it's the first time for me to make a vinyl. So I actually have a turntable now, so that's new and different for me.
That's cool.
I'm looking forward to the show. It's just going to be a lot of fun.
Right.
And we're doing an in-store at a record store the next day too. So it'll be a fun weekend for sure.
Right. Sounds like fun. Yeah. Did you have to get like a test pressing to approve and all that stuff when you got the vinyl made?
I did.
Yeah.
I sure did. Yep. We had to do the test pressing. They mailed it to us. We signed off on it, and they sent us the full album art.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. I'm looking forward to the in-store, the vinyl record store too. It's called Grimey's.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've been there. I went to Nashville for the first time about 2 years ago for Americana Fest, and
you did
bought a few records at Grimey's. Yep.
Yeah, I'm hoping we'll be on the Americana Fest this year. I'm not sure if that's going to play out or not, but if so, Pete's like, hey man, if you're going to do it, if you decide to do it, and they decide to have you on, I'll come in and sit in on a couple of songs.
Nice.
Which is really, really, that'd be a lot of fun too, to have Pete up there.
Yep. Excellent. Well, it's nice to see it's all happening, and thank you for taking the time out of all of this to talk to me down here in New Zealand. Hopefully, you can make your way down here someday.
Sure. Listen, Marty, my goal is to get to New Zealand. New Zealand and Australia.
Yeah, because both places got a big country scene happening.
I know it, and I get a lot of followers like on Instagram that are messaging. They'll message me and say, "You gotta get to New Zealand.
Yep.
You gotta get to Australia." Like it happens every week, and I'm like, I know. Trust me, I'm trying. So you guys, if anybody out there knows any of the big festival folks there in New Zealand, please, send them my way.
Will do.
So I would love to come visit.